If you want to change your life, if you want to change anything about your life, whether it's your relationship, your health, your wealth, your family dynamics, your business, your cash flow, your career, whatever it is, you must listen to the next 10 to 15 minutes where I'm going to dive in and share with you how to change your life by shifting and changing your identity. So the identity is really connected to your ego. And the ego, the conversation around the ego is quite an extensive conversation, which we're not going to have today. But for simple, straight down the line conversation, let's talk about identity and ego as being one and the same. Because let's give an example right now. Let's say that you're going to a party and there's 100 people there. And so you speak to 20 of those people throughout the evening. You may find that you are shifting between different versions of yourself depending on who you're speaking with. So whether you're speaking with people that are more affluent or more successful, or whether they're people that are interested in physics or in mathematics or music, or people that are, running a family and building their local church or community, you may find that you are shifting identities to match the stimulus, i.e. the conversations that you're entertaining at the party. That's the same thing as shifting states of being. So you are not your identity. You have been taught that you are your identity and led to believe that you are the identity that you currently occupy because you carry a name, you carry a date of birth, you carry a position in your family or in society. Whatever it may be, identity comes with labels, and the ego loves labels. So when we look at identity, identity is the shifting states of awareness. So when you believe that you are who you are as the name, as the status, as the person in the world doing the thing, then you are occupying what you believe is a fixed state, an immovable state, a state that you must remain in and cannot shift out of, which is why a lot of people find it very difficult to shift their outer world because they believe inherently that their identity related to their outer world, the results that they see in the outer world and the experiences they have in the outer world are fixed. That is so far from the truth. You are constantly shifting states of being based on your mood, your emotions, what you are thinking, who you're interacting with, what you're interacting with inside yourself. So when we think about the ego, we think about persona. The Latin root of persona means mask. So your ego is a mask that you wear. Put another way, your mask is your identity. Just like going back to the party example, you speak to 20 people and you have 10 different versions of yourself interacting with 10 different conversations. You are wearing a mask in each one of those. And it is futile and feeble to expect that you cannot change your state of being and therefore change your outer world. So when you start to think about the identity, the identity is the shifting sands in the desert. To change your outer world, change your identity. And how you change your identity, I'll go into a lot more detail in an upcoming video. But for now, what I'd really, really encourage you to consider is you are not who you are pretending to be right now. And I use the word pretending purposefully because you're pretending to be something. You're pretending to be finite. You're pretending as the larger, expanded, eternal version of yourself to shrink down into a smaller space, to occupy a smaller space through the lens of an identity. So your identity shifts based on what you determine yourself to be. You determine yourself to be by giving specific attention to what you want to experience in your world. A millionaire or a billionaire experiences millionaire and billionaire experiences because they have assumed the identity of that state, of that reality. Someone who is in poverty or struggling from day to day, week to week, month to month, has assumed that identity. And therefore the outer world has mirrored back, reflected to them as an effect, an echo corresponding to their identity. So for now, consider who you believe yourself to be. Identity is impermanent. You, as an identity, are impermanent. You're not fixed. You can change. You can have change brought upon you by outer circumstances. Or you can choose to change of your own volition because you see a new way, see a new path. And that new path comes through the act of desire creation. Because you desire something different, that is the invitation to step into a new identity, to assume that new desire, to experience that new desire within yourself first, so that the outer world as the effect echoes back to you like for like. So I hear this a lot and engage this conversation a lot with my clients, most often with myself. Because when I look at myself in the mirror, the metaphorical mirror, I ask myself, who is it that I am observing? Who is it that I am observing right now? And in answering that question honestly for myself, therein lies and determines my next point of action, my next point of focus. So if I determine myself to be an identity that is less than what I want to experience in the world, what I desire to experience in the world, then in that observation, that is the invitation to shift. Because if we tune into scripture for a moment and we look at the states, every single name in the Bible, every single name in scripture is a state of being. It's a state of being as we move progressively through infinite states in expressing ourselves along our path of evolution. That is what we are doing through the human experience. So we are shifting states intentionally or consciously or unconsciously, okay? So if you want to change your outer world and you want to change your identity, first appreciate and understand and have it land for you as a reminder that you are not fixed in any determination or any determined point of space and time. You are not fixed. Your body believes that it is fixed because your senses are picking up the same information reflected back to you based on the identity that you are assuming yourself to be. So you can shift states of being. You can shift identities. And the fastest way to do that is to determine what experiences you want to have in your life and to assume the identity of the person wearing that mask, that garment, having experienced or experiencing those preferred experiences, that reality that you prefer. So identity shifting is easier at the conceptual level. The level of the body feels a little bit more challenging because your body is hardwired to your identity. And it sounds like a little bit of an oxymoron. It's hardwired to your identity until you train your body, your nervous system, your biology, your neurology, your chemistry to a new state of being, a new identity. And that is why when we meditate It is to get beyond ourself. It's to get beyond the I in identity. It's to get beyond the ego. It's to get beyond the senses so that you can refresh, upgrade, and go back to a blank slate as the eternal, infinite expression of creation, of source energy. So you are leaving your identity for a moment, for 20 minutes, for 30 minutes, for an hour, for 2 hours. You are leaving your identity fixed in time space where you left it, your body, sitting on the chair, sitting on the ground, on the yoga mat, in nature, wherever it is. You're leaving it where it is so that you can commune with your higher self, commune with your larger self, commune with source energy, the greater part of you. And so what you bring back with you from meditation, from leaving your identity, is a new perspective, is a new understanding of who you are. You're refreshed. And so that's why consistent meditation is important. Consistent visits to nature, consistent, juicy, lovely, deep, wonderful, invigorating conversations. It's important for your soul. It's important for your nervous system. Most importantly, it validates what you choose, who you choose to be as an identity in the world. So if we wrap all of this up and you're still with me here, then I'd really encourage you today, right now, is give attention to your desires and ask the question, in desiring these experiences for myself, who is the identity experiencing those desires? Who am I invited to become, to embody, to embrace, to assume myself to be experiencing those desires fulfilled? So therein lies the question. And therein lies the blueprint as well for you to consider your next steps. I desire these things, and this is who I be. This is who I believe I am. This is who I have assumed myself to be in the fulfillment of those desires. That is the invitation to step into. Become that person. And the way to become that person is through devotion. And I'll speak about this in another video as well. Devote yourself to those experiences. Give yourself to those experiences. There is no outer power. There is no outer force that can give you what you want. There is no other power. It's you. It's you that assumes the identity of those desires fulfilled. And you walk in the shoes of that new person, persona, that new mask. And it does take practice, especially if you're at this end of the string, this end of the continuum. You're really not having fun. You're really wanting big change. The finance isn't what it was or is or should be, the health, the relationship, the family dynamics, whatever it needs to be. You may be down at this end and you desire experiences at this end. It's equal and opposite, it's counterpoint. Both must exist simultaneously. That's the law of the universe. The universe always seeks balance. It returns to balance. Where one exists, so too does its counterpoint. One cannot exist without its counterpoint. So recognizing that, to shift out of your state and into a new state, therefore creating a new reality for yourself, is to create a new identity of yourself, to reawaken yourself to a new realized state, a new person, a new experience occurring within the self, within the cosmos of the self, as the self. So if you're still with me and you like these videos, I'd love for you to give a like, comment below if you got value and want to drop any insights. And of course, subscribe. And I'll see you on the next one. See you in the field.